David Cameron has used the starkest language yet to describe how dealing with a record deficit would change our whole way of life. Mr Cameron said the deficit was even worse than he'd expected. Labour say their actions in government prevented a recession from turning into a depression. As our political editor Nick Robinson reports, Mr Cameron appears to be setting the scene for the pain that will come with a budget that is now just 2 weeks away.
Cuts are coming. They're unavoidable. They'll affect us all. So soon, people may be asking, will my pay be cut? Or will I lose my job? Others may wonder, what about my benefits? And what will the cuts mean to me?
Because the legacy we've been left is so bad, the measures that we need to deal with it will be unavoidably tough.
We're in debt, aren't we? So, yeah, it needs to cut spending, but I'm not quite sure exactly where, because someone's going to lose out, so I'm not quite sure where would be the best place to cut it, really.
Labour say the pain must be shared fairly, and they insist that so far it's not being.
Nobody is in any doubt about the need to bring the deficit down, but we're saying, look, let's bring the deficit down in a way that's fair. And everything that the coalition has done in the first month of office has actually been to hit people who can least afford it hardest.
Well, the Prime Minister's speech gave no specific details of where the cuts are likely to be made. Our economics editor, Stephanie Flanders, has been looking at some of the options. Stephanie.
Thank you, George. Well, it's not news that the government's borrowing a lot, but the Prime Minister's right that his situation is unique. No British government since the war has ever had to tackle a budget deficit that was quite this big.
What do you think? What's the thinking behind painting all this in such a stark way?
Making it easier to take the tough choices, George. Just listen to the words that shone out from the Prime Minister's speech today. There were three that I picked out. Unavoidable, legacy, and together. Unavoidable, he's really saying I've got no choice but to make these cuts. Legacy, saying not my fault, it's the other lot's fault. It's their fault because they left the economy in such a mess. And together, he's saying we've all got a responsibility to do this.